Hi everyone, Charlotte here from New Zealand Shores. Today we're just having a bit of a recap on the top industries we've seen for recruitment for our clients in the first half of 2026. So I am recording this in June, so we are pretty much halfway through the year already, and we are still seeing a certain trend in the clients who are currently being hired. So number one is of course the healthcare industry. So there is very much demand, and that is a global demand as well for healthcare workers, particularly in the GP and doctor space is where we are still seeing big demand from New Zealand employers for those healthcare specialists. However, this does still range for everyone in the healthcare industry. So if you are in that industry, your chances of securing employment in New Zealand still remain relatively high. The second industry we're still seeing a large number of people being hired in is particularly in the ICT space, but more specifically in cybersecurity and those who already have really valuable AI experience. So as we know, we're moving into a more AI space. AI is taking over the world, and that is no exception down here in New Zealand. Many businesses are wanting to be prepared for the AI boom, so they are trying to hire people from offshore who already have that experience. On the flip side, we've got cybersecurity, which with more and more people out there who are trying to hack websites and utilize scams, cybersecurity is also proving a really important point for a number of New Zealand businesses. And these are skills we just don't train enough people for in New Zealand. So there is a large recruitment from offshore happening in that space. The third top industry we have seen a bit of a boom in is finance and accounting. So they do typically have quite high salaries as well in that space. But if you have really valuable international experience with big firms, then you do still stand a good chance of being hired in that finance and accounting space. The fourth one is construction and engineering, and even though there has been a little bit of a slowdown in this space in the last year or two, and that's happening globally, there are still a number of people who have really particular skills who are in demand, particularly in engineering more so than construction. Residential construction has dropped off to a degree, so we're not seeing as many tradies be hired, but we are seeing people with larger scale construction experience still getting jobs. Our fifth industry, which we are seeing people being recruited in largely, is those who have really high level executive and senior management experience. So we're talking about people who have managed big corporates overseas, who are then being hired to come into New Zealand and run some of our bigger businesses here. Of course, these people do attract high salaries as well, but that is one space that, again, we just want that international experience to come in and help New Zealand businesses thrive. The sixth industry where we are still seeing some traction, it is in the trades. I have just mentioned we have seen a bit of a drop off in some trades roles. However, there are certain areas of our economy that are still really struggling to get sufficient tradies into those spaces. If you are willing to look outside of the bigger cities as well, you do stand a stronger chance. Anything which is associated with the rural sector is absolutely booming at the moment. New Zealand's main export industry is primary industries, so anything that's associated with food production is doing really well here in New Zealand at the moment. So that is effectively where we are seeing the greatest demand at the moment. If you are in one of these industries and you are keen to move to New Zealand, please do reach out. We may have employers who are interested. We may be able to connect you with some recruiters, so please do reach out. We would love to undertake an eligibility assessment for you and give you some guidance on what your pathway to New Zealand may look like.